folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, the Singapore Grand Prix edition. Jason and I were supposed to be on a flight by now, and we would have been if Sebastian Vettel hadn't won the Singapore Grand Prix, because he loves to chat. He especially loved to chat today because his drinks bottle failed halfway through the race, and he took a massive glug of champagne after the race, so was quite loose-lipped and flowing in his effervescent state. Sebastian Vettel becoming the third most successful Formula One driver of all time with his win in Singapore tonight, and it was like 2013 spec Sebastian Vettel was back in a mid-2000s Ferrari, toying with the field at times. We heard Lewis Hamilton on the radio suggesting that Sebastian was holding the field up and then he would just go. First lap of the race, he pulled out 3 seconds on Daniel Ricciardo. He had this race in the palm of his hand from the word go. No one was going to beat him today. Ricciardo tried his hardest and very nearly got on terms with him. Kimi Raikkonen simply didn't have an answer. That was your top 3. Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, and this is what they had to say. Kimi, great drive. How good does the champagne taste after a race that long?
Well, I was okay, but I think water could taste a bit better probably. So yeah, well, end result is okay, but since yesterday morning we struggled and with the grip and handling. So I was surprised yesterday with the feeling how it was to finish third, and today was a bit easier third, but we had an okay speed when we had newer tires, but once Sebastian started to push, no answer for him or Ricciardo, so it's been a struggle for the last 2 days. So looking at that, it's okay, the result, but still disappointing. So
team's been much more competitive this weekend. Obviously, Japan's a very different track. Can you expect to take that competitiveness through to next week?
I think it's hard to say, because obviously we were a bit surprised in the last race that how we expected to be more difficult for us, and obviously we were quite competitive, and then here we've been pretty good. So I think it's better to go there and see how it is, and it seems to change from circuit to circuit. One team is a bit more happy than another, and we keep changing. So we go there and try to do our best. So
I saw him take off, and break that DRS in the first few laps, and he probably broke it by too much, and I knew he was going to suffer at the end of the stint. And just as he started to suffer, and I was able to, keep my pace. The pit window was getting closer, and we're like, okay, we're probably within a few laps of trying maybe an aggressive undercut and then trying to go for the lead through pit stops. And I was like, my eyes were lighting up thinking it's going to happen, and then I saw on one of the screens a Force India in the tyres or in the wall, and I was like, please, I was hoping he didn't have damage. I was basically hoping he would keep going, but then I saw the safety car, and I knew we were close to the pit window, so I was like, okay, everyone's going to pit now. But knowing we had a second stop to do, I thought, okay, let's just try and do it in the second stop. For sure, Seb probably learned a little bit from the first stint, but I think, again, we still had good pace at the end of the stint. I always saved a little bit more in the tyres. Then, thanks to the guy on the track, that dictated the second safety car. So, unfortunately, didn't really create too much excitement at the front, probably for opportunity for me and maybe for the fans, but that was that. And with the prime, again, we were quite quick, but Seb was able to just hold probably a better pace with the prime and not let me get close enough.
I think we were the quickest. I think looking at tyre degradation, the Red Bulls were very competitive, so that obviously brought them very close at the end of the stints, hence why the first stint looked very different to the second one. As soon as we approached the pit stop windows, I was trying to keep going, ramping up the pace and put a gap. It worked fantastically well. Also, I heard that one of the Mercedes was on the opposite in terms of tyres. I think it was Lewis. Obviously, then he had a problem, so he couldn't really go for it in the last stint. But as soon as I heard that as well, approaching the pit stop windows, etc., I was trying to ramp it up. But for sure, our biggest competitor today was Daniel, and we seem to always control the gap, especially at the end, which was very useful.
This morning, the record books for the most wins read Schumacher, Prost, Senna. They now read Schumacher, Prost, Vettel. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's difficult. I can't really put it in words. Michael obviously has played a massive role since I grew up with racing. Prost less, but I was aware. I mean, it's not, he already retired when I really started to get hooked on Formula One. And then Senna, I think everyone who loves racing knows about Senna, so I prefer not to talk about it. It seems surreal.
So Sebastian Vettel, who won, and has cut his gap to Nico Rosberg back to just 7 points now in the championship standings going to Japan. Mercedes, Rosberg, Hamilton, the story of their weekend was the story of tyres. They were 1.5 seconds off the pace in qualifying, but today in the race seemed to have cured the ills. That said, mechanical gremlins came back to haunt Lewis Hamilton. He ultimately retired from the race. Nico Rosberg, I think probably a day of damage limitation, brought his car home in fourth. Here's both of them. Lewis Hamilton, far happier than I think we were expecting following his retirement, and far happier than Nico Rosberg, who did actually finish the race. How much was today about damage limitation?
It was about going for it, pushing all the way, trying to stay with those Ferraris in front and trying to beat them, but no chance.
Lewis came out after his retirement and said he thought he had the pace and the team, the strategy to have taken the win today. Is that kind of optimistic?
I don't know, difficult for me to judge. I was pretty similar on pace to him, actually the same at that point in time, and I didn't manage to win, so maybe that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Did this final safety car, is that what caught you out from achieving a better result today, or was this really the maximum given the problems you had with the tyres this weekend?
No, I think strategy-wise and everything, it was really optimum to beat Kvyat. That was one position better, so I think we optimized that. More was just not possible.
Not the way you would have wanted this one to end, I'm sure. Talk us through it.
Race was going really well, I think. Had really good pace, and then engine. I just lost easily half power, so I was just driving around slowly, basically. It was like driving on the pit limiter the whole way.
You say you had the pace, the strategy. Was that there for you to take the win today?
Well, now you've just seen the safety car come out and everyone's gone to prime, but I felt like perhaps if that hadn't happened, I think I had the pace to win, but who knows.
Had you overcome the tyre difficulties that you had yesterday?
I believe so. Well, we hadn't done anything, but we seemed to be able to hold on quite easily, and I was on the primes, keeping up easily with the option guys. So...
You don't seem too down. You've got a big smile on your face. I guess when there's nothing you can do about it, is that the only way you can deal with it?
I think so, yeah. And I feel like, the team worked as hard as they could. These kind of things happen. And for me, I feel like I was driving at my best in the race. I felt like I really had it under control. And so I did everything what I needed to do this weekend. So, yeah, I'm generally happy.